And we are recording.
Oh, right.
Dude, what is up, my man?
Well, another week of, exciting chaos. We're dealing with like the disorderliness that must go with moving, magnified with a 1 and a 4-year-old has just been a completely different experience for us. But that's what we're
How
going through.
so? How so?
How's it different? It's like we're very regimented in our schedule. Like we really like that. We've got routines. We're very planful about our meals.
Well, speaking of routines, my friend, let's get into it. Tell me about your week as far as the routine is going.
Yeah. So morning meditations before work, of course.
Okay. All right.
The
Any particular kinds?
What's that?
Any particular kinds?
Still the Deepak. I just finished the 21-day rotation again, but I might just start over again. I'm liking it.
Awesome. Yeah.
Gives you enough variety without it feeling repetitive. So.
That's what we're not here to just like preach some like, all right, there's only one way to meditate and this is how you do it. It's like, find what fucking works, man. I don't care. Mm-hmm. I do not care. Do what you like to do. And then we can gauge how I'm feeling, right? That rolling, like 120-day rolling average of well-being. And all right, what have I been doing? Has this meditation practice been doing it for me or not? Or whatever. So, okay, awesome. So you're meditating. Great.
Meditating. No shaming if I miss a day.
Also love that.
Yeah.
Like I'm not here to be like, dude, there's so much shit out there that's like perfection based. It's like, don't ever miss a workout. Don't ever do that. Don't ever miss this. Don't ever not do that. Don't ever eat a fucking carb in your life, right? Or you're a failure, or you're weak. And I'm like, hey, if that works for you, fucking get after it. Get after it times 10. But that kind of conversation with myself just doesn't work. I'm gonna fuck up. I'm gonna have a day where I didn't do what I really wanted to do, and me shaming myself. Hey, if that strategy works for you and shaming works for you, fucking by all means do it. For me, it just started constructing all sorts of stories in my mind of not enoughness. So, kudos.
Yeah, no, it's what a huge leap. That's what's been very unproductive for me in the past, right? Is considering how we met in the rooms, right? It's like I was either 100% on something or like 100% off of something, right? Yeah. So like I'm either, counting my macros and working out every day, or I am binge eating and not moving my ass off, right? One of the two.
And then what's funny is that results in kind of like just middle of the roadness, where I could just be in the middle of the road in the first place and save myself from these extremes. The most successful, like the most fit I'd ever gotten, or like the most like I'd stayed on like a diet plan, which I'm not like a huge fan of that anyway. The most successful I ever was when I had like a slip. Right, was previously the conversation was, well, there was a slip, so then everything is fucked, and so you might as well just like eat the whole sleeve of Ritz crackers or whatever it was at the time, or Oreos or whatever. And I forget what the food was or what I had or whatever it was, but I was like, why don't I just like continue what I was doing?
Right.
And I think that was the first step towards kind of evening out. Like I don't have to, like, it was a long time before I like started really working on food stuff. But that was the first time I thought to myself, like, oh, what if I just didn't act like a maniac around food? I just was like, oh, I had this thing. That doesn't mean I have to have it again 3 minutes later. I had the thing. But anyway, all right, continue.
Yeah. So, still meeting with my sponsor. in the program, going through the 12 by 12, which
Well, just as a
actually,
heads up, so if you want to talk, like, you might be violating traditions and stuff like that if
oh, right,
you
right.
are recording. So for AA stuff, I would probably be like, and I'm meeting with my other guy or something like that.
My other guy.
Yeah.
So I'm meeting with my other guy as well,
Yeah.
um, through a particular set of principles, which is actually was productive last time, or interesting, I should say, useful. It was good. And then, physically, I'm again going back to the all or nothing. I don't have to work this week. I felt okay not working out for like 45 minutes and been okay doing like 20, 25 more consistently, which has been nice. It like makes me feel all right.
Dude, like my workout lasted, I don't have, let me see if I can pull it up in a reasonable time frame. No, this doesn't have the time it took. Let me see if it did. No, it doesn't have the time. But dude, it's not like I'm talking to you on a fucking treadmill going 2 kilometers per hour right now, right? It's like it's like I just want to move around. I don't want to just be on my ass all day. And like the exercise is just, there's a phrase I heard once about another thing, but it really applies to exercise really well. And it's like, come for the vanity and stay for the sanity. And that's totally how I feel about being physical. Or my goals have shifted when I was a teenager and in my 20s. And part of me, even still right now, if I'll be real with you, is like I work out to be just a yoked, jacked looking dude. So people will love me. Like that's where it's coming from. Right? I don't know if you resonate with that or anyone else resonates with that. But now my primary motivation for exercising, man, is like I just want to feel good in my body. And there's a difference, there's a difference in my overall vibe when I move around.
Sure.
I'm sure we've all been in there when we've like watched Netflix for like 8 hours straight and been on the couch and eating like ice cream. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but doing that for like 12 hours straight or a whole weekend. And I just feel like dog shit. And I like am not looking forward to Monday. So kudos on you doing your like finding out what feels good with your exercise. Again, well, I think this our whole conversation is you saying something and then me coming up with some story about it and then being like, good for you. So like these, for anyone that's watching or listening for anything like these check-ins, like Kellan's been doing this work for a really, really long time. And he's already seen kind of, he's in maintenance mode. He's I don't like that word maintenance, but he's in
don't use that word
mode. He's been doing this a long time. And so these little things are just check-ins being like, are you doing the deal? Are you doing what you know works? And do you have any blockers? Right? So that's what this whole thing is for. It's a nice little short, like 30 minutes checking in. You're doing the deal. Great. Is there anything that's been like there's any resistance? Is there anything kind of sticking with you? And then we work through that. So anyway, continue. Just giving people context.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's and the check-ins are still, I at least right now, I don't see having some mechanism like this not playing a part in like the forever of my, growth and whatnot. It's just so much easier, to make small tweaks often rather than to, go into, I've been feeling misery for a month straight now. Now I have to call somebody versus let's have a nice chat. So
it's momentum, man. It's all about momentum. And if I can stop that boulder before it starts rolling down the hill, then so be it. That's how I kind of view these. It's like we keep the boulder, the boulder that we want, like the feeling goodness, keep that rolling, and then keep the one that's like keep misery and sadness kind of just on the top of the hill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, the rest of the routine, eating's been going well too. Eating's also a big part of how I feel, right? If I indulge, I know the small little consequences I'll pay as far as how my body reacts to it. And sometimes I do it, but most of the time I don't. Yeah, that's not too much of I don't have to go through a big thinking exercise of that kind of stuff anymore. So yeah, overall good. I was just reflecting this morning, like I was really, for whatever reason, I had a really good workout. Not that we talk about nothing but working out and eating in here, but like I happen to have had a day where I did a lot of activity.
What else is there to life, dude? What else is there to life, man? What else would we do?
But like I had one of those days where it's like, oh yeah, like I really had a good day with my body. We did a lot of stuff, right? And so this morning I was like, I usually get up around 7. And I was just like, it felt so good to be laying in bed. And it's Monday, of course. So it's like, I know that a year ago, if it was 7 o'clock, I'd be like, oh, I have to get up because it's Monday and I have so much stuff to do. And today I slept up right before 9. Made sure I started my day at a reasonable hour, but like just woke up, I was like, man, I was really tired. It was really nice to keep sleeping, And I just didn't worry at all. I didn't worry about, oh, what are people going to think if I don't sign on by 8:30, right? That's the kind of dialogue that lived in my head before. So I don't know. It was just one of those observations that happened today. It was like, it's nice that I get to
not waking up to an alarm. It's the only way to live, man. I don't know how I'll ever go back to waking up to an alarm, man. I just feel like I'm in control of my own life. Like the reason the alarm was set was not for me. Like 99% of the time. There were some times when I was training for a marathon and stuff where I set the alarm for me. It was like, this is my training. So this is my training time. But all the other times it was for somebody else. And it just did not feel very good. Feels nice to just and now I still wake up at 6:30 in the morning. Not that that's like crazy early or anything. It's just that's when I wake up. I go to bed. Sometimes it's 10. Sometimes it's 11. Sometimes it's 9. And I wake up at 6:30. That's
no matter what time you go to sleep.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, generally. And now that we have a cute little toy poodle, then I really don't have a choice at this point because that fucking dog will let me know it's time to to be fed. She's adorable, man. Oh my God, she's so fucking cute. I love her so much. Anyway, so you're doing your meditation. Your relationship with food and what you're eating seems to have kind of leveled out a little bit. You're moving your body around. You've reduced a bit of the time volume in that, and that seems to still feel really good. You're not waking up to an alarm clock or waking up when you want to. Actually, I like that phrasing a lot better. What else? Oh, you're doing your other service work. The other guy. And what else?
I did have a nice little fear freak out over, we got 23 things in the mail to our address with all sorts of different people from this one prepaid debit card service. It's like the Department of Revenue uses for unemployment checks. I'm like, what the hell? So like, we're buying a house right now, right? And so, of course, instead of being like, oh, what a funny mistake, or like, oh, weird, that these 23 cards got delivered to our house, like, I feel so bad for these people who like may or may not have had their identity stolen. But instead I went to, they were sent to my address. Did my identity get stolen? Which is kind of valid. But then it went straight to, Kristen, we're buying a house this month. If we don't figure this out right now, we are going to be homeless because we're going to have to sell our house, but they won't give us the new house. And we'll just be out on the streets. So we just went, in circles about that real quick for a couple hours. And, and the emotions tempered off. And I was like, oh man, it's just so funny how that kind of stuff can take you back. But that was my little reminder of what it used to be like every day this week.
Yeah, man, the money safety demon is a good one. And then as the older I get, like the larger the dollar amount it kind of takes for that demon to come out. But that's actually not even entirely true. Someone can fuck with like, if it's like $5 and I feel like righteous about it, it can crop up too. But tell me tell me about because that'll happen, man. It's like we're not here to be perfect about and just walk around life like fucking Buddha all the time. Like I just am a human being. I'm gonna have emotions that aren't always joy. And what I'm really curious about is the kind of the arc that took. So you kind of talked about kind of the discord part of being like angry and going to like the extreme and only thinking about yourself, not thinking about other people. And then tell me about what happened after that.
The interesting part is we discovered these letters, like, or these cards, like the freak out, so to speak, happened today. But we received these cards like several days ago. Mm-hmm. We didn't put any attention towards it, like, that's interesting. Let's look into that when we have time this week. And we continued living our lives. But then, particularly today, I decided to put my focus on it, right? I didn't put the right type of focus on it, right? And or the most skillful type of focus.
There we go. There we go. There's no right or wrong focus. It's just like, how is this focus feeling? Absolutely. Uh-huh.
So the arc was, I want to investigate this and do my due diligence and, like, investigate it so I can close it and move on with my life. Well, we couldn't close it because we couldn't get a hold of the Department of Revenue and we couldn't get a hold of the credit card company responsible for putting these cards out. So it was like, oh, like now we can't do anything about it. Like now we're just sitting here in uncertainty. Oh God, And so with that uncertainty, we filled out 23 Google forms trying to like do our due diligence and provide a paper trail that wasn't us that ordered these 23 cards. But like we got spun up about it. So we're like, oh no, we didn't get any answers. And then the dialogue ran towards basically what I said previewed earlier. It's like, oh my gosh, did someone steal our identities? Is this
so when you had cloudiness and there was a blank to be filled in, your choice right there in that particular time was to fill it in with the worst possible scenario.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I do that all the time. Absolutely. And and how did that feel in that particular point in time?
It felt infuriating.
Yeah, anger. Is that the primary emotion?
Yeah.
Riled up, and a little bit of fear in there maybe.
Yeah.
With the no house thing, like our house is going to go away and then we'll have a place to live kind of thing. And so the reason I ask how you're feeling, and it's so funny, one of my other guys had a very similar conversation like this with there's like some opaque thing going on and you could fill in the blank and then chose to fill in the blank with like this story, is that when people hear like, oh, it's your thoughts, like it's my thinking that's responsible for my emotions. Like how I think is how I perceive the world, and emotions will come through and it will determine how I feel. And they're like, that sounds crazy. That sounds like nonsense, yada, yada, yada. And all I have to do is point to any time like this where, oh, thanks for moving that light out of the way. That's much better.
There's too much light and not enough, right, with you.
Anytime, all I have to do is point to a point in someone's life when they thought one thing was one way and then it was actually another way. And then a sense of immediate relief came upon them. And the variable there was how they were thinking about that particular thing. A completely made up story about something that never happened or never existed. And I felt like trash. And then the reality comes about, and now it's like, oh, there's a different story, and I can believe it because it's actually real. Boom, immediate relief. And I'm like, well, if we're going to paint a story about something, why not paint a not shitty one? Why not paint one that feels pretty darn good? I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know why that's so many people's defaults. And we don't need to know.
The interesting thing about all this, and this has been a great progression since the time we started working together, but the things I am comfortable, putting, let's just say, with as much non-specific language as I can, trust in like the universe, right? Trust, right?
You just say trusting. You could just say trust.
Like first it was like, okay, I trust that I'm going to have a job tomorrow, like little stuff like that. I trust that like I can do very small things, and I'm okay with like giving up the power on that and not having to worry about it. But then it's like we get to this point where it's like, oh, I haven't like, these incidences are like once a week, maybe few and far between anymore compared to what they used to be. But it's like for me, oh, this thing affects the roof over my family's head. This affects, so it's like, oh, I am responsible to this fear. If I don't worry about this fear, then I am being irresponsible. When it's just like you take those next steps up and you find these bigger things with life where you have to work your way into trusting with that as well.
And that's a great point, because I think a person would come back and be like, well, what are you talking about? Like, I have to be realistic about these things and weigh different pros and cons and scenarios, right? So I can make the best decision for, in your case, your family. And I say, absolutely, 100%. But can I plan for the future, weigh those scenarios, and still not be filled with anxiety and fear and worry? Can I still be filled with contentment and peacefulness and joy and do those things? And the answer is yes. The thing is so many folks and I don't want to speak for other people, but a strategy that I used a bunch of times was, I am going to get myself to feel like shit to motivate me into action. Mm-hmm. And it's great. It's a great motivator, right? And that's why I have shame, fear, and anxiety, is to get me to do or not do things. That's why it exists. But I don't want to be trained that way by myself and by my own mind. I want to ask, what do I actually really want? I ask my conscience, what do I actually really want? How do I actually really want to be in this world? And how do I want to feel? And of course, I don't do this perfectly, and I don't do this all the time, right? But if that's my North Star, I've always got that to go back on and to go back to. And so I can plan for, and let's use retirement as an example. I can plan for retirement without being miserly and like fearing about, well, the market crashes and fucking all. No, I was like, those are all out of my control. What can I do? Right? To secure a financial future and feel awesome about it and feel really, really good about it. And I've done it. Like, it's on lock. And now it's just on autopilot. Save half of my income every month. I put it in a 401 portfolio and I'm done. That's it. I have a little play money here and there for cool stuff like crypto and things like that. But that's it, man. And I'm done. And I watch the charts go up and up and up. Another way that could go is I'm going to hoard every single penny I possibly have and not enjoy any of it. Even when I amass a gigantic pile of money, because I'm just going to be afraid that it's going to go away. Same exact outcome, entirely different emotional outcome. Like, why do I want to feel shit for 99.99% of it? Like, feeling good and being like quote unquote realistic are not incompatible.
It makes the things in question be less life or death and more just like interesting contemplation. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Worry is a near miss for actually caring.
Yes.
It's a near miss, right? It's very close. And anyone who has a Catholic mom like myself can tell you. Like, that was one of the ways that she expressed her love. And I'll tell you, and maybe other folks can agree with me on this, was like, I could use the other ways that she expressed her love way more than worrying about me. It's like, Ma, I'm going to be fine. And so you seem to be pretty like cavalier about it now. Seem to be feeling okay. And this happened today? It's okay if you're not, by the way.
Yeah, no, we had a real quick up and down on it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's
well, I wanna give credit where credit's due, right? Because a quick up and down is really nice.
Yeah.
Right. If we look at a stock chart, right, and you're just like soaring and soaring and soaring, and I'm feeling awesome, I'm feeling really, really good, and then there's like a little blip, you don't even notice it when you zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but I've held some fucking anger and resentment for fucking years before.
Yeah, no, it's been, and that that was something that both Chris, my significant other, and I were a part of, and we both chose to move forward. Like, oh yeah, we just got a little bit riled up there. Let's move on, and neither of us had hard feelings about it, because it was just an event. Yeah, it was. I'm grateful again that those are like the snafus that I have today in my life versus
yes.
cataclysmic ones.
Man, that's a great way of putting it, man. Yeah, luxury problems and luxury kind of like emotional responses. It's like we're not dealing with really heavy shit anymore. It's like this is all like Mickey Mouse problems. It's like, these are easy peasy. Why? Because we have this consistent repertoire. Like, you literally just said why like 20 minutes ago. Just a little tiny maintenance, little bit of work on the Ferrari that you are, week in and week out. And we don't have to go through like feeling like shit for like a whole month before we get going again. It's super, super simple. And I'm so grateful to like be able to do this with you, man. I love this shit. I love doing this with you, man. It's awesome. It's awesome. So, sir, when is your move-in date?
September 1st.
September 1st.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So you're moving. Your routine's on lock. All right, man. Well, what else, man?
Nothing else. I feel like again, we could go back to the drawing boards of 7 years ago, and you could say a picture of what you'd like your life to look like in, less than a decade. I would have doodled some bullshit versus representing at all. I'm continuing to focus on, I'm continuing to have a desire to improve my health, and that feels good. And that's my only little goal, like everything else seems so effortless that it's not even something that's top of mind. The rest of the things is just the continuation of my life, which happens to expand without much effort,
Yep.
So,
it's almost on autopilot, man.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why I like to use money as an example, because once one accumulates like a certain amount of it and starts investing it, it just kind of takes care of itself. And it just starts to grow. And you can see like the amount. I was like, oh shit, I didn't do any work last week, and there's an extra $2,000. Mm-hmm. That's that's awesome. That's really cool. And it's the same thing emotionally. It's the same thing emotionally. Once I bank enough and I continue to save, it just grows exponentially.
Yeah.
That's the work that we do. At least that's been my experience.
That's a good one.
All right, man. Anything else you got for me?
That was all, my friend.
All right, dude. So as far as housekeeping goes, like, we'll end this. I'll take some screenshots. I'll put them up on the internet, and I'll send you a link, man, so you can see them.
Sweet.
You can see where they're at.
I completely forgot we were doing it this week, so there was like I guess we'll just roll right into it.
Yeah, and it's going with the flow. And you were great, man. It was like, it's a little weird doing it the first time. At least it was for me. And you seemed completely like normal Kellan. So kudos on you. You have a future in television.
Oh, great.
All right, brother.
See you, brother. Thank you.
Bye.